Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer your elemental energy reading for October of 2025 for the element of water. Water covers the zodiac signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, all of the fishies out there. So if you are Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, or if you have water high up in your chart, this message is for you. If you're curious about what your elemental alignment would be, there is a link in the description to a natal chart, which is a zodiac chart. It's your birth chart, 12 houses, all the little signs and symbols. And then it gives you 10 to 20 pages, depending, of what all that means. And included in that, in all of that, is what your elemental alignment is. Most people have one or two that are dominant, and then one or two that are very recessive. So you can figure out where your alignment is from there. There's other informative goodies down there as well if you're curious. With that, we will get started with your reading. And we will start with your I-ching hexagram, and I cast the hexagram before the video, and water has number 42. This one is the hexagram of gain. And the text here is, gain, it is favorable to have in view some goal or destination and to cross the great river or sea. So October is going to be a really good month for big projects for our water family. And it's really saying, make sure that you have a detailed plan outcome for this month, because whatever you put your attention to this month is going to actually work out. So you want to make sure that you're putting the right things forward and staying focused on those things throughout this month, because it's just from this, the great river or sea, it's an overcoming a big challenge, and it's favorable to have all these things lined up because you're going to be able to basically get over the situations here. So let's break down the lines. Our foundation line down here, number 1. It is the time is favorable for undertaking great works, sublime good fortune, no error. This is just the reminder and the encouragement that October is the time to kind of set those big plans in motion. If you've been working kind of subtly, getting some things working ahead, now's the time to really start putting that stuff into action, whether it's finalizing that website for your job, finalizing the storefront that you've been wanting to do for a while, popping that question to the special someone. Water, this is really saying now's the time for the big actions, but make sure that you know where you're headed. Don't just start making actions without a plan. That's part of that is you want to make sure that you are focused on what you're aiming for. Your second line, there was one who enriched him to the extent of 10 pang or tortoise shells, which is a fair amount of money, and who would accept no refusal. Unwavering persistence in a righteous course brings good fortune. The king has sacrificed to the supreme Lord of heaven good fortune. So you may end up with a random or unknown or spontaneous. They kept showing me an explosion. I'm like, what does this mean? Spontaneous benefactor, someone who's coming in to offer you some assistance in some way, shape, or form. And the energy that's coming forward is they're not really going to want anything out of it. Like, pay them back over time, but it's not a big deal. And they're not going to be like, they're going to be very ethical about how they play this out with you. And the king sacrificed to the supreme Lord of heaven good fortune. So someone that you've looked up to is actually stepping in to maybe do some helping, or something that's lined up where the person you're looking up to is actually willing to step down from where they're at to help you out so that you can actually achieve the same level of accomplishments. And the one who enriched him to the extent of 10 pang or tortoise shells and accepted no refusal, this is where, if you stay true to your morals, your ethics, as it says here, the persistence in a righteous course, that's being very honorable in how you act, things were going to line up very well. So make sure that you're being, truthful and upfront, and no shenanigans, because that's not going to work out so well. But as long as you're sticking to that honest path, it's going to look really good for water. Our third place line, he used an unfortunate means to gain something, but But as he acted in all sincerity, he was not to blame. Walking up the center of the hall to report to the prince, he carried his jade tablet of office. So even if you, without meaning to, make a mistake, it's not really going to be held against you because you were trying to do the right thing. It just kind of went the wrong way for a second there. And that's not going to be on you. That's just going to be, it happens. When you walk up the center of the hall to report to the prince, it means even with those mistakes, you're not slinking along. You're not like trying to hide. You're like, you know what? I own my mistakes, and you're going to go straight in there and you're going to talk to the prince. And your jade tablet of office is basically saying, no, this is what I've done. This is how far I've come. This is a mistake that I've made, but I'm willing to stand here in front of you and be very honest with you and be very upfront. And so you're really, things are really looking well for water as long as you're willing to, if you make a mistake, you're owning it. And that allows you to step forward with that sublime confidence so that it's not so much about, I have an ego. It's more of, I own my mistakes and I will fix this. So let's take a peek at your 4th place line. He walked up the center of the hall and informed the prince of his fealty. It is favorable to be entrusted with the task of removing the capital. There's a note on that one. Let's see what that means. Removing the capital. It implies convincing superiors that we can be trusted. Okay. I was like, you're moving capital. That doesn't make sense. So he walks up the center of the hall. Again, you're going forward truthfully, honest. You have nothing to hide. You're not slinking around in the corners. And it is favorable to be entrusted with the task of removing the capital. You're going to the prince saying, yes, I made a mistake, but I'm still going to go forward with this. I still want to do this. I want to complete this. And that's where they're coming, saying that by doing this honest, upfront, being transparent with the actions that you're taking, it's going to show the others that you can actually be trusted. Whether that's that proposal, whether that is that business, whatever is playing out here, you're showing yourself to be very upfront, very honest. If you make a mistake, you own it and you keep trying to fix the problem and then move forward so that you don't have as many of those issues later on. And that's where you want to make sure when you cross over the great sea or river, those are major things that you have to overcome in life, but you're proving that you can do so without shenanigans, because it's just not the way it's going to work for you. So our 5th place line, be confident or sincere and kind. Refrain from asking questions and you will enjoy sublime good fortune. Faithfulness or sincerity and confidence are virtues proper to us. Again, they keep reinforcing this energy of being confident, which is not pride or arrogance. There's 2 different things. Confidence is, I know what I'm capable of doing, and if I make a mistake, I'm going to fix it, but I'm also willing to learn and keep growing because I know where I want to go and I know where I'm not quite there yet, so I'm going to keep practicing. And that's where, when you're confident and you're sincere, trustworthy, it's you don't have to ask questions of everything at that point, because it's like it says, refrain from asking questions, you will enjoy sublime good fortune. In other words, you don't have to question the good that comes in. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth is something I was always told. So it's one of those, like, when good things happen, don't poke at it and try to unravel why it's happening, accept how it's happening and go forward with it. Faithfulness or sincerity and confidence are virtues proper to us. These are things that are ingrained in who we are. We actually have to train ourselves to be more deceitful in a lot of ways, is what they're saying. But once you have achieved a righteous path, a righteous persistence, those things are so foreign you don't want to be involved with them anymore. So you stay faithful, you stay sincere, you stay upfront and honest. And what they're saying is, with that, keep your spiritual practice at the core of whatever you do. That way it doesn't have to be a spiritual business. It can still be a mainstream, a secular business, but your practices and how you act are still in line with your spiritual values. So our capstone here, he did not attempt to benefit them, and someone struck him for his inconsistency of heart, misfortune. So you don't want to do things just for your own selfish gains. Is basically it's saying he did not attempt to benefit them. So you're doing things to, oh, I'm just going to hold all this to myself, and I'm not going to attempt to pay back that benefactor, or I'm not going to attempt to whatever. And that's where you're struck with your inconsistency, because you're doing all the right things, but then you pull a shenanigan. They're saying that's not advisable here, because that's going to lead to the misfortune. So even in the little stuff, that person, that the benefactor that comes in, yes, they're going to come in and they may not ask for much, or they may not even ask for anything. But if you're not willing to help them and show the respect back, things are not going to look so great, because you've been doing all this hard work, water, and you've been putting in all this time, so you look really good. But then at the end, you don't try to help someone out, it's going to backfire, and that's what they're saying. So you want to make sure you're being really clear on how you move forward here. So let's hop over to our tarot and oracle cards. There's approximately 5 weeks in October, so we'll do 5 sets. Each week we look at a guide or guardian, a message from source, and then a little bit of clarity from the tarot. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know your thoughts, feelings, and impressions. Also, if you are watching along and you see a different image from what I am seeing in the cards, feel free to drop that message down below, because you might help someone else out down the road with that I'm not reaching, but you might be able to. And that's the beauty of intuition, is you're able to use it as a gift, because it is a gift. I don't care what anyone else says. It is a gift. It is a talent that we've all been given to different degrees. So one person is going to reach someone a little bit differently than others. And your first week's guide or guardian, water, is Deer, with trust in the support of the universe, with archangels Michael and the angels of faith. So when you trust in the support of the universe, you don't have to worry about how things are going to play out. You stick to your goals. You make sure that you're taking care of the morals, the ethics, the things within your control. Beyond that, the universe is doing their part. Michael's coming in to be protective of you, and the angels of faith are saying, don't forget to stay true to your spiritual practice. The energy that comes up with these is very much defensive, because they're very protective. But the other part is, you don't have to worry. You don't see the deer out there in the forest in the winter, storing away food. They might get a little chubby, but they're not going out there and stocking up for, every rainy day. It's because they're taken care of. There is some, there's obviously some natural selection that goes on there, but that's what the universe is trying to say, is as long as you are sticking true to the righteous persistence, the righteous path, the rest of everything else is going to work out. You don't have to try to control or manage every outcome. Focus on the big things, take the next steps as you're inspired to do, and the universe is going to conspire in your favor. And that's what they're wanting to bring forward here. Your message from Source is the blue flame, spontaneous awakening, activations, and integration time. This first week is really about kind of stepping into your own. You're waking up to more of who you are. This is kind of the gateway to your reality, the gateway to your soul, so to speak. So when we're looking at this energy, the deer are protecting, guiding, and allowing you to be yourself. And the blue flame is saying, now remember who you are. This is a time of awakening to your true potential. It's not a time for questioning and doubting. You've already been through a lot of other stuff, water, so you kind of know how you're going to play this out, as long as you're staying true to that core principles. And that's this part of spontaneous awakening, is if you're staying true to those core principles, things are just going to fall into place. There always is going to be some challenge. There's always going to be a little bit of growth fluctuation there, because we're human and we need the lessons, and that's the energy that comes forward. But overall, you're going to be stepping into a really beautiful path, as long as you remember why you're doing what you're doing. Your message from the tarot is number 3, the Empress, with Archangel Gabriel. And we have time to act upon plans, creativity is rewarded, luxurious or abundant resources. Gabriel is the patron of water as well, so this is right up your alley. And the Empress is working with goddess energy, the divine feminine aspect. So you're really stepping into this high frequency, and this is where, as it says with the I-ching, this is a time for the big stuff to start happening. This is where your action is taking place. The big emphasis I keep getting with this is not a spiritual side of things. There is spirit involved in this, so don't toss that out. But this is a time for the physical actions to start taking place in October. This is where, like I said, you start the business. This is the time where you finalize some things. This is where you maybe pop that question. The actions of this month are what is important, as long as they're following those righteous path energies. And the Empress coming in as a divine feminine guide is really saying, let's do this. Let's birth this new reality. Let's birth these things into the physical. Take the stuff that you've been putting into this energy field and let's bring it into reality. So you've got a lot of really good encouragement this first week. So your second week's guide or guardian is the bee. Spread heart healing with joy with Archangel Preminilik. I'm not good with this angel. I just haven't worked with them enough. But we have worked with bees. So bees are very hardworking little individuals, and they work for a central goal. A lot of the times, the minions at the bottom do not have a clue why they keep doing what they're doing, but it's because they know that they're doing it for the good of everyone else. And when we open our hearts to the fact that, yes, we can be very, I don't want to say selfish, but that's kind of the energy, where we're taking care of our own needs, but we're not forgetting about the people who helped us. We're offering pay raises if we have employees. We are paying back the loans to our benefactor if we have one. It's taking care of the things that are meant to be taken care of for the purpose of, yes, I am being rewarded, blessed, or supported, so I will do the same back. And yes, you're taking care of your own needs, but you're also helping out others, so which is really a beautiful thing. It's not about being forced to. You're doing so because you choose to. It's part of your righteous path, those ethics, those morals, where you choose to make these changes. You choose to support these people or these energies and that kind of thing. So the bee is about working together, even if you don't fully understand the bigger picture yet. And you may never understand the big picture. That's fine. But you're doing your part because you know what your soul is calling you to do. So your second week's message from Source is Star Family. You're part of a team of souls. Call in your support. You're not having to do this alone. And in this card, it's talking about your spiritual support system. It could be Star Family. It could be like a galactic council type stuff. It could be the angels. It could be other elementals. It could be other guides, guardians, ancestors. This is where you remember that, yes, you're doing the physical work here in the physical realm, here in this meat suit world we live in. But you also have a massive amount of support on the other side of the veil. And you can still ask for support, guidance, maybe understanding, because you might be being led to a certain decision, and you're like, but why? Why this decision? And that's where, when you tap into and check in with your ancestors or your guides, all of a sudden you can start to see the reality of what's the purpose here. And it's like, oh, that's why we're doing it this way. Okay, I got this now. So it helps a little with the understanding part of things. Your message from the tarot is 21, the World, Major Arcana energy here. And so was the first week's. This was first week's, the Empress. Major Arcana, so these are big life lessons. This is stuff that applies to not just in 1 week. It's over covering. So you also have that with this card, which is the World, with Archangel Michael, a happy ending, coming full circle, spiritual growth, and insight. This is that reminder that things are working out the way they were expected and planned to do. You're looking at the end game, you're looking at the final goals, so things are lining up, and you're taking the next steps as they come forward. And this is especially with the Star Family coming up this week, this is a really good indicator of connecting into the spiritual realm, so that you're walking in line with your soul in the physical world. So you're walking between worlds in a way that you never thought you possibly could before. This month is going to reveal that, which is kind of fun, considering this month is also the month where the veil thins for Samhain. So you have this beautiful energy of, interacting with the spiritual world but manifesting into the physical. Things are shifting and changing, but they're all moving in the right direction as long as you stick to that spiritual line. So your third week's guide or guardian is the snake with live according to your divine kingdom and divine essence, sorry. And it's the elemental kingdom. So water, you get to work with all of the elements: earth, air, fire, water, and ether or spirit. So this is saying bring everything together that you have been learning, water. This is not about being separate and saying, I can do this only with my particular water skills, which is really intuitive, very emotion-based, understanding emotions and using that. This card is saying, but use your earth. Use your hearth and home energy. Use your air, your intellect. Use your fire. Trigger that passion within. And when you get all of the 4 earth elements, spirit comes in to support you even stronger. So you're in a really beautiful spot in this third week, and it might not look to the outside world like what are you doing? You actually think this is going to work? But you've lined up. You're tapped in. So you can make this work, and you will overcome any challenge because you're already in an aligned state. And in the spiritual sense, you've already completed the project. Now you're just bringing it into the physical world. So their opinions over there, they can keep them. They're fine. Just ignore that because you have everything else lined up and supporting you this month, especially this third week. Your message from Source is the I'm Sorry card, which is defenselessness, righting past wrongs, and uprooting. Just like with the I-ching, admitting your mistakes and offering to fix them is what you are looking at this third week. And it's not saying that you have to go out and make dramatic shifts and wailing at the corner, I'm so sorry. It's more of, I accept my responsibility in this particular situation. I have been working on doing better, and this is how I am improving. This is what I'm doing with the help of my guides, with God Source Divine, with the angels, so I can actually become a better person. And when you do this, you're not just apologizing or making right in the physical, you're also forgiving yourself, and you're seeking guidance from the divine so that you can learn the lesson the first time and not have to repeat that. So it's really a powerful energy that's coming in, but that's also in alignment with having the elemental kingdom on your side, as they're all here to support you. And sometimes you have to eat a little crow to make that all settle down, but that's okay because you're already ready for that. Okay, water, you have a powerful, powerful month going on here because you have another major arcana card. It is number 16, Change Your Life, with Archangel Kamael, a revelation that offers freedom, breaking free from procrastination, embracing opportunities that bring change. And this is, again, tying into that energy of you might end up where you're wanting to be, but it's not probably going to be through the channel you originally thought. When you first put your foot on the path to the end game you're kind of bringing into fruition this month, things shifted, things changed. The line of thought you originally had has moved fairly frequently because the path ahead was not as straight as you might have thought it was. There's some ups, there's some downs, there was some going through some tunnels, have to ford a couple of rivers, but you ended up where you're supposed to be. And this changing of your life, it's saying you've taken the opportunities as they've arisen. It has strengthened your intuition, which water energy is pretty intuitive to start with, but the path that you've been on, whatever it is, the big projects that you've been working on, and it could be from the last couple of days, months, or even the last couple of years, the big stuff that you've been working on and it's been settling into place has helped you grow in a spiritual sense, not just the physical aspect. And that's what they want to say is, look at how far you've come. This next few steps are not going to be that hard for you because you've already limbered up to the fact that you don't need to be so structured in how things play out because the universe is working to support you. So put your hand in the hand up above and walk on forward because it's going to open up. It just might not be the way you thought it was in the first place. So your fourth week guide or guardian is the bat, seeing through illusion into truth, with Archangel Dorenka. And bats see in the dark. This is a little bit of air energy here because you're cutting through illusions. And this fourth week is saying, don't question or doubt. You've done so much work, water, up to this point, and now you're being able to put this energy into the physical world, so you don't have to stress over all the little things anymore because it's already lined up for you. And that's where you get to see through the illusion of lack, the illusion of you're not smart enough, you're not skilled enough, you're not good enough, but you are. And that's where the bat's coming in to be like, dude, you got this, don't worry about that stuff so much. That's the ego getting in the way, trying to bring you down, because the ego is a tool. And when you stop relying on the ego to control everything, when you start tapping into God, source, divine, and that spiritual side, the ego gets a little defensive. And that's where this bat is coming in to say, don't worry about that. See through the illusion. You're the one who's in control. The soul aspect of you is in control. The ego is just something we put on to go through certain parts of our lives. We take it away, toss it back in the closet, like leave it alone. It was never meant to be the driving force within our life. But that's where the bat can help you see the difference between the two. Your message from Source is trust the timing. Trust the wave you came in on. Time is not running out. No matter how things look, this month is going to be powerful shifts and changes for our water family. This is a time of growth, of potential, and of things happening the way they were meant to, maybe not how you originally thought they were. The path ahead is very fluid, but you're going to arrive where you're supposed to be at the proper time, because your soul and God, source, divine are perfect in their knowledge. And when we trust that, we arrive perfectly in the right place at the right time, and we don't have to question it, which is surprisingly nice when you think about it. Okay, you have another major arcana card. This is 4. Water, there are some powerful shifts going on this month. You have number 12, perspective, Archangel Camael. In traditional tarot, this would be the Hanged Man. There is a better way, pause for reflection and insight, dare to be different. You don't have to look at things from, well, what if? Or, well, it's not the same way that so-and-so did. Well, who cares what so-and-so did? You're not so-and-so. You are here to step into your alignment. And sometimes that means you have to look at things from a different perspective. Sometimes you have to stand on your head to be able to see the reality of how confusing things really are. Sometimes you have to turn the world on its head so you can see the path forward. Because sometimes that path has been obscured by all the clutter. Well, when you take a snow globe and you turn it upside down, what happens? Everything gets shifted and moved. So that's the energy of this type of a card. Change your perspective, change your outlook on the situation, and see what happens. See what kind of new things pop forward, because it's going to be a little different, but it's definitely going to be exactly what you need. So this 4th week is really about coming to the realization that as long as you're tapped in with that righteous path, that righteous persistence, it may not appear the way you originally thought, but your end goal is actually going to come maybe a little bit faster because you were able to dodge some of the headaches along the way. Your 5th week guide or guardian is the Eagle with Seize the Opportunities Courageously, and Angel Bakpi. The eagle flies above everything and gets to see everything from the highest perspective. You have been able to tap into Source. You've connected into this higher frequency. Your higher self energy is really strong with you by the end of this month. You've aligned with your soul's guidance and goals, which is manifested into the physical for you. And the eagle is about success and things going correctly. And having the ability to seize opportunities when they arise, when things are at their perfect alignment, is really what this message is coming into fruition for. Don't worry about the supposed missed opportunities, because they're really not missed opportunities. They weren't the right ones in the first place. You've lined up and you've tapped in. Therefore, your spiritual guidance has shown you what is meant to be, not what you thought it should be. Because that's where you get tapped into that ego base, and things are a little bit wonky at that point. But when you really are connected into Source, things line up really well. So, enjoy your ride this month. Your message from Source is perspective. None of this matters. Zoom out, common ground. The devil's in the details. You don't have to worry about those. The universe is taking care of that. Your goal is to stay focused on the end game. Just like with your message from the tarot for the 4th week, the perspective card there, where you're seeing things from another option. This one is saying, look at things from the bigger picture. The eagle flies above the storm. They don't worry about the storm because they're above it. And that's where your energy is. You're above the situation now because you have practiced, you've studied, you have stepped into alignment on your righteous path, following morals and ethics. Your code of conduct is strong. You're tied into source, and you're seeing things from the higher space. So you don't have to worry about the little pits and valleys anymore because you can see the path around them. You don't have to worry about all the headaches or the chaos because you see the way around them. Sometimes it's just seeing things from that different perspective can change everything because you don't have to worry about the little stuff anymore because you realize the universe has had your back from the start. So let's take a water. This is going to be an amazing month for you. You have a lot of big stuff shifting because your last week is also a major arcana card. It's number 15, the decision card with Archangel Jophiel. Release yourself from that which holds you back, a need to detox unnecessary worry based on lack of self-confidence. Let go of the past. The things that were dragging you down in your history are no longer a problem. Let them go. Release them as you would release doves into the wild. It is no longer a need for you to worry, carry concern. Not forgive yourself for past things. Let it go. Forgive your previous self's issues. Forgive the situations where you were at fault. Ask for forgiveness if the person's still around. Fix the things that need to be fixed, because when you do, everything is let go. You don't need to carry it any longer. And this month is really about you. It's about you up leveling into the spiritual aspect of who you are. It is about you releasing the past of the heaviness, the guilt, or the shame that might be back there. Acknowledge it. Forgive yourself for it. If that person's still around and they're still kind of in your life, but they're a little touchy, seek forgiveness there. Even if they aren't willing to offer it to you, if you're seeking it out, you're on the righteous path. And then if they're not willing to forgive, at that point it's on them, and it's no longer yours to carry. This month is really you cleaning out the energetic house, because the physical house needs to have place to manifest into. So you clean out all the clutter and things settle in. So with that, I will let you guys and gals go. Have a great month of October, which this looks like you're going to have a really good month anyway. Let me know in the comments how things play out for you through the month, and I will see you in the next video.